Welcome back, and we are going to start the part 2 of the presentation. This presentation is a bit long, but we deliberately included as much detail as possible for you so that you can get the full grasp of the system that we are presenting and sharing with you today. And if you have any questions, please jot down your memos and then we'll discuss afterwards. So we'll start the second part of the presentation on the PMIS and the Public Information Disclosure System, Allimi in Korean. First, let's browse through the PMIS workflow. So, in the next two slides show the PMIS workflow consists of 7 stages total. As we are presenting this to you, please compare this with what kind of stages of construction that are being used in your country's construction management. The table here also shows the relevant users and the specific implementation period for each stage. Now you can see that in stage number 1, immediately after signing of the work contracts, basic information on the users and the projects are registered onto the PMIS. And then matched by the system. In Korea's case, PMIS of the Seoul government is linked with Korea's national government procurement system, KONEPS, which contains the contract data, such as the names of the contract holders, down payments, and scheduled completion rate. So this basic information concerning that particular project gets then automatically transferred to and registered onto PMIS, thereby really facilitating that automatic linkage of the information. Then the users of the PMIS enter additional information such as the project location on the GIS map, project objectives, construction overview, construction sizes, and so on. And then they will complete the registration. And afterwards, the system connects the new users to the projects. Then in stage 2 here, you can see that is the project plans and the timelines. Basically, the contractors would register their project work schedule as approved by the managing officials of the Seoul government. Next, in stage 3, the contractor manages the project and then submits the progress reports on a regular basis via PMIS. The progress reports are made on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis, as we are going to explain a little bit later. Please note that for construction projects in Korea, periodic offline progress reporting is already required by law. I'm not sure whether that's the case in your country, but basically in Korea's case, because of this mandatory offline progress reporting submission, Seoul system is basically contributing to the further systemization of progress reporting on these projects through digitalization of those reports via PMIS. Next, in stage 4, here you can see that PMIS enables Seoul government officials to issue instructions such as the project directives online. And then based on these instructions, the work will be carried out at the field. Next, in stage 5, then users will be able to register and search various types of documents that are created in the course of the project implementation. The stage 6 is the performance evaluation. And then after the completion of the actual building, then in stage 7, then the contractors will register the as-built drawings on the PMIS. Now let's look at the main menus and categories of PMIS more in detail, one by one. Seoul government has structured the PMIS in ways that optimize the system according to the characteristics of each user and project. Clear divisions in the system is designed for each user and project, and this is designed to reduce system errors and increase protection against security breaches. PMIS is first divided into the administration mode and the business mode, depending on the user type. Then the business mode is further divided into longer-term project mode and the short-term project mode, depending on the project's contract amount and the construction time period. And when you are adapting CCS-like approaches in your country, you can think about how you can separate the systems in terms of the government officials who are managing those public construction projects and the mode that will be used basically on everyday basis by your contractors and the supervisors and consulting engineers and so on. Now, next, This chart that you see here basically shows all the key representative menus and categories. For the purpose of the sharing of the clean construction system internationally, please note that the Seoul government and the UNDP Seoul Policy Center have simplified the one PMIS structure. So this does not represent the entirety of the actual system, but then for the purpose of today's presentation and sharing with you, we are going to be explaining 7 main categories and 24 menus in total. Next. First, the project overview menu that you see on your left here basically consists of the project status, contract status, organization, and then web camera categories. First, project status. This gets opened to citizens. All the information basically managed through this category gets disclosed to the citizens through Allimi. This menu basically provides us an overview and summary of each of Seoul's public construction projects. It allows Seoul to locate each construction site on a digital map. And then the contract status is also open to the citizens through Allimi. The Seoul government can monitor and manage contracts and payment details, including the specific contract amount, period, and subcontracting statuses even. In addition, further financial information on each project is pulled into the one PMIS through an automatic linkage with Seoul government's e-financial management system, as well as Seoul government's automated subcontractor payment management system. The third one is organization. This menu is basically for integrated management of all project participants registered in one PMIS. As we told you, when a user registers himself on one PMIS, this person will be then matched to a specific project by the system after entering a couple of information. On this one, you can see that at least 3 responsible actors of the project, namely the Seoul government official in charge, the supervisor and contractor are shown here. You can see on the right side of this screen. And while additional persons can be also registered for display. This is based on the designation by the project managing official. This allows basically people to see who hold the ultimate responsibilities and also increase the accountability and healthy pressure on those people who are responsible for each of the projects. Next is the web camera. Seoul has installed an average of 2 web cameras at each of its public construction sites to enhance its ability to manage the project sites. With the web cameras, Seoul's construction project managers can view the real-time images of each site and can save time in site monitoring. And then you can see that in the next slide, the example of the real-time web camera image transmitted via one PMIS. Basically, what you have here is that the web cameras installed at each site is equipped with zoom in and zoom out functions along with 4 directional movements. I actually talked to the Seoul government officials who are managing web cameras, and they told us real life stories whereby they were able to respond to emergency situations, like for instance, like a significant breakdown in one of their construction site functions and so on, early morning or at odd hours. Rather than having to waste their time to rush into the project site, they were able to immediately log onto the system and actually give directions to the people who are already dispatched at the field as to what to do for the emergency responses, while the manager was basically monitoring the entire project situation through the web camera through this convenience. So this actually helps people's time and also it increases the efficiency. This also means that managers do not have to visit the sites as often as it was necessary in the past. And this, again, saves the time and the cost. This basically shows us the multiple images of one particular site and how the project manager can see all these different images all at once. Next, we are going to move to the progress management menu. This menu consists of the project work schedule, progress rate, construction photos and resource management categories. First, project work schedule. As we explained to you beginning, the contractor begins the project management on one PMIS after submitting a construction commencement report. And so the first step of the project management is to upload and then register its project work schedule. The data registered under this menu can be then converted into an Excel file format for user convenience. And what you see here on the screen is an example of a project work schedule uploaded on one PMIS. The second thing that you see here is a progress rate. You know, a lot of projects get delayed, but then when there is no proper and systematic monitoring mechanism in place, you can actually miss out on these delays, and then thereby, you know, really making a lot of troubles later in the stage of the construction project. So what Seoul has done is the following. They have employed various methods and visual effects to show the status of each component of the relevant project against its work schedule. So the system displays the status in three categories: on time, which is green, slightly delayed, which is orange here, and then delayed, red, basically really demanding immediate attention from the project manager. Next is the progress report for each process of the construction work. You can see here the images here, week 1, week 2, week 3, and week 4. So basically, for all of the construction projects managed by the Seoul government, it is mandatory for the contractors to register the relevant project photos via one PMIS whenever they are submitting their progress reports on daily, weekly, as well as the monthly basis. And for system efficiency, the Seoul government has set a maximum number and as well as the size of the photos to be uploaded as part of their progress reports as well. As a rule, the contractor should only register the latest photos showing the specific work status. The photos uploaded for the weekly reports are released also for public access through Allimi. As we are going to explain to you in the Allimi section, the daily and the monthly reports are not released to the public, but only the weekly reports. So the contractors pay particular attention to those weekly photo updates. Next is the resource management. You know, in the big public construction projects, there's a lot of resources to be managed, and these resources basically have three main categories: manpower, equipment, and material resources. In Seoul's one PMIS, the resource input status is separately managed through this dedicated progress report. Each resource type is further divided into 4 categories in the reporting matrix, as you can see here. This enables the users to undertake a systematic monitoring of their project resources and to later reproduce this data for various reporting and monitoring purposes. In the next slide, you can see that the next menu is progress reporting menu. This menu consists of the daily work report, weekly progress report, monthly progress report, as well as delay progress categories. First, progress reporting. So what you see here is that they need to upload the daily reports, the weekly reports, as well as the monthly reports. I'm not going to go into the details here. You can reference the details to in the resource book for practitioners that we shared with you earlier. But basically, if you go to the next slide, you can see the standard template for Seoul's daily progress reports that contractors need to submit via one PMIS. You can see that they need to actually, write, contractor who is the responsible approver, who is the responsible supervisor, including their last names and so on. That again increases the accountability of these specific managers. And then this template will basically include overall project progress rate divided by project component, equipment, and the short description of the work that was done in the previous day and the work that was done today, status of the material input, all the different types of the materials that were put into the project site for that day, status of the manpower input, status of equipment input, and any special considerations or the records that need to be kept for that day's work. And then also, Seoul government has mandated submission of reports specifically on delays. In Korea, when the monthly progress rates show more than 10% of delay against the target, or when the accumulated progress rates show more than 5% of delay in total, the project supervisor has specific responsibilities. The supervisor must give the contractor appropriate instructions on how to analyze and address the causes of the delay. So basically, building upon this legal system, and all of the things that I described to you just now is actually mandated by the Korea's national law, namely the Construction Technology Promotion Act. So what Seoul government has done is that building upon this legal system of the delay reporting, they have installed a specific menu in one PMIS dedicated to reports on delays. And then these delay reports are compiled and permanently stored in the system. And then they basically give valuable information, in what kind of circumstances significant delays are incurred, and what are some of the preventive and remedial measures that need to be delayed to address those delays can be also discussed afterwards. So you can see here the template of the delay reports here. Progress status, delay progress status, causes of delay, remedial measures that are undertaken, and the responsible persons, and so on. Now is the very important safety management. We talked to you about at the first part of the presentation how those really horrendous casualties that we experienced in construction disasters really led to the development of one PMIS and Allimi in the first place. So the Seoul government has naturally placed a very, very strong emphasis on safety management. Now, the safety inspection, this is very important for Seoul government. So what they did was that basically they have created a specific safety inspection category here, whereby the person actually the manager needs to register the safety check results of a specific project on one PMIS. So basically, when a safety inspector registers the safety check, these results will be automatically sent to the Seoul officials in charge of the particular project. Then the officials will review the information and then notify the contractor of their safety inspection results, whether they passed or not. So basically, this safety management system through one PMIS increased the timeliness of safety management, and it also helps to accumulate important data from various projects in one depository. And then Seoul government uses this kind of information for developing specific policies and institutional measures on safety management and so on. Next is the construction machinery safety checks. You might have noticed that those machineries that are employed in big public construction projects are quite complex. And when there is a fault with these machines, that can actually incur severe casualties on the workers that are that use those machineries at the site. So Seoul government has created this dedicated menu for the construction machinery safety check in order to reduce the accident occurrence rate due to the size and the complexity increases of the public construction sites. So with this feature, Seoul requires contractors, including their subcontractors, to register on one PMIS the basic information of their construction machinery deployed at the sites. They also require the contractors and the supervisors to rigorously manage the safety check history for each construction machine throughout its life cycle. So with this menu, Seoul's one PMIS is now establishing a useful online database for construction machinery, which shows the patterns of their use, as well as key vulnerabilities and checkpoints per type of machinery. And by the way, Seoul government basically has put in practice that when a machine fails to meet specific safety standards, its use at project sites is strictly prohibited. And then the contractors are also required to take prompt actions to get their machines checked by safety inspection agencies throughout the construction processes. So all of these things, what to do is basically safety manual. So Seoul government has created a dedicated menu on safety manual repository. So here basically they upload all the different types of safety manuals, and this allows all the project stakeholders to be able to share all of the reference documents related to safety management. Next, project document management menu consists of electronic approval, document management, as well as built drawing categories. First, the electronic approval. This is quite an innovative function that Seoul government has introduced that made OnePMIS an attractive and powerful tool. So what they did is the following. OnePMIS is linked to the internal administration system of the Seoul metropolitan city through an electronic approval system for its work directive documents. This function was actually introduced because Korea's current laws and regulations do not recognize documents created and registered through OnePMIS as official government documents. This is due to the different levels of security in these systems. So basically what they did was the following. When Seoul government official drafts work directives for its construction projects through OnePMIS, it would use Seoul Metro City's official government administrative network to receive the electronic approvals with an electronic signature on those drafts. Within Korea's government system, electronic signatures made over a government network like this confers the authority of official government documents to those documents. So after this document that they developed on OnePMIS gets approved through the government's official administrative network, electronic signatures will be registered, and then the responsible officials would send their work directives to the contractors and supervisors back via OnePMIS. So basically the document would go from the OnePMIS network to the government administrative network. When that gets officially approved with electronic signatures on the official government administrative network, it gets sent back to the OnePMIS and then shared through all the contractors and the subcontractors. So this is how the Seoul government ensure that the project work directives registered in the OnePMIS have the actual official authority. Now document management. Can you imagine the amount of all the different documents that are produced in the course of a big construction project? Enormous. So Seoul government has basically created this menu in order to really digitalize and systemize numerous documents that are created by all the different types of participants in the project. So OnePMIS offers sufficient storage space on its database to allow the users to store all their documents by, as categorized by each of the projects. And then it also allows people to really search for specific types of information in a convenient search function. Now next is the as-built drawings. So this is quite important because previously, before the introduction of the OnePMIS, as-built drawings of Seoul's construction projects were managed by several entities and departments in a complicated and diffuse manner. And we know all what happens when different people are managed different sets of documents. It basically gets lost after a while. So with the OnePMIS now storing and managing all the as-built drawings of all of Seoul's construction projects, Seoul government is able to prevent any loss or duplication of as-built drawings and always make sure that they have the final versions of the as-built drawings. Now next is the history and record management menu. This consists of performance evaluation, accident history, as well as penalty management categories. First, performance evaluation. The Seoul government basically evaluates the performance of the companies and technicians participating in its construction projects on OnePMIS, and then accumulates all the evaluation data. The evaluation data on one PMIS does not electronically replace the official evaluations of the actual design, supervision, and construction work as prescribed by Korea's relevant laws. Nevertheless, what one PMIS does is that it provides a convenient tool for the responsible managers to access the performance of these actors within the online project management system. Seoul's performance evaluation is made from a combination of multiple choice questions and short answer questions. The evaluation is conducted at three points of the life of the project, upon 30% of the completion, 60%, and then 95% of the completion. So after a while, one PMI's data becomes a very valuable asset because all these performance assessment records are permanently stored in the system, and then the users can refer to those records for their policy reference. For instance, Seoul government can reference later on the performance evaluation records when they are selecting their contractors in the future bidding processes and so on. Next is really the accident history. Seoul government experienced 2 major construction accidents in July 2013, and in response, the government established a systematic accident history management menu on one PMIS. So the slide here shows the working steps of Seoul's accident history management. As you can see from the flow chart, when an accident occurs at a construction site, the contractor is obliged to report the accident immediately to the responsible Seoul official. Furthermore, the contractor must register all the accident details on one PMIS. Once the investigations on the cause of accident as well as remedial actions are completed, then all of that will be again registered on one PMIS. If the contractor attempts to hide the accident by not reporting to the ordering body, they can impose penalties. The Seoul government officials can impose penalties on the contractor according to the relevant laws and regulations. Furthermore, Seoul government can minimize the likelihood of cover-ups by cross-checking the accident reports against the information on the victim's industrial disaster insurance compensations as provided by the Korea Occupational Safety and Health Agency, whose information is directly linked to one PMIS. What you see here is an actual accident history management screen from the one PMIS. We just basically have captured the screenshot and then translated into English for you. So as you can see on this template, this would include detailed information on the accident, including victim information. Now, as I mentioned to you previously, the information that is stored on one PMIS like this, it will be also referenced in the future contracting processes. This will ensure that those people who actually perform well will receive future contracts by the Seoul government. Lastly is the penalty management. In Korea, based on the Construction Technology Promotion Act, which is the national legislation framework, the Seoul government can impose penalty points on its responsible project contractors in the case of faulty construction, whether it's actual or expected. These penalty points are imposed on responsible companies. And then these penalty scores accumulated would act as a disadvantage to the company later, as these records can be viewed and considered during the overall bidding and selection process of projects in the future. So with the one PMIS, the Seoul government is able to manage the penalty points more systematically than before. As soon as the Seoul officials impose those penalty points on their responsible construction contractors, they would register the full record immediately on one PMIS. As such, one PMIS always shows the real-time update of all the penalty points of Seoul's contractors. And as we can explain to you later, this information actually gets released to the public. So the public can actually see which companies have received what kind of penalties for what reasons. Again, this adds healthy pressure and then contributes to increasing the transparency and accountability on the part of the public, on the part of the private companies that are actually building those buildings in Seoul. Now this concludes the presentation on the One Project Management Information System, and now we are going to move on to the public information disclosure system, Allimi, whereby the citizens can actually view and access all the information that has been stored and managed through the One Project Management Information System. Now I'm going to hand it over to my colleague.
Thank you. So in the next section of this presentation, we will explain more in detail how the Seoul government has created a real-time public information disclosure system with a direct and automatic linkage with One PMIS. You will see how all the information in One PMIS becomes live for the citizens through Allimi. First, this diagram shows how One PMIS, Allimi, and citizens are connected to each other. Seoul's construction information disclosure system, or Allimi, which means to inform or to notify in Korean, allows citizens to access the real-time information on Seoul's public construction project through an automatic information transmission linkage with One PMIS, as well as with related e-governance system in Korea. It brings transparency to the construction administration processes and enables the realization of the citizens' right to know. The information item disclosed on the Allimi website includes a construction project overview, contract status, implementation status, periodically updated worksite photographs, list of stakeholders, total and breakdown of project costs, progress rates, and other background information. With such comprehensive information released through Allimi, citizens can also send their comments and questions about specific construction projects and receive real-time answers via Seoul's social network services such as, for example, Facebook or Twitter. On this slide, on the left side, you can see the main screen of Allimi. Once you visit the homepage of Allimi, you can run search either by typing the specific name of a construction project or by clicking on the administrative district you would like to look up on the map of Seoul. Or, as in the image on the right top corner of this slide, you can make a detailed search by entering relevant information of several types of search criteria. Once you click on a specific district on the map, or run a more detailed search by entering relevant information in the search criteria, such as, for example, the name of the ordering body, types of projects, by district, or by the total value of the project. The result will then show up in the list, as you can see in the orange section of this image. Next, when you click on a specific project in the list of search results, you will see the next screen, as in the right bottom corner of this slide, with all the relevant information of the project you just have selected. Now, what type of information is disclosed through Allimi? So there are 7 main categories of information that citizens can access through the system. This chart summarizes what kind of information is provided under each category. For the next slide, we will discuss more in detail about the information disclosed per each category. So in the first category, we have construction overview. This category provides the general information of a construction project. You can find information such as the exact location of the construction site, as well as the construction period, work progress rate, project scale, name of the institutions, companies participating in the project, as well as names of responsible persons involved in the project. This following section features information regarding the contract details. You may access information of the contract details not only of the prime contractors, but as well of the subcontractors. This following section features information regarding the contract payment disbursement status. You may access the information on the status of Seoul's payment to prime contractors as well as subcontractors. Let's see now the section of photo updates. So in this specific section, you can access periodic photos, updates of the construction project you are interested on. Only the photos from the contractor's weekly report are released on Allimi, while one PMIS registers daily, weekly, as well as monthly reports. Citizens can thereby monitor the weekly progress of the construction sites here. Clicking the image displayed will enable you to enlarge the photo. Next, we have the web camera video image service, which was introduced by Seoul in order to help citizens to view the construction sites in real time. The camera angles and showing directions are set by Seoul's authorized personnel. With this feature, citizens could not adjust the camera angles, but nevertheless could watch the video streaming of the construction site from several main points. The web camera service was well received by citizens. However, as mentioned before, this service was discontinued on June 29, 2015, following a decision by the Korea's Personal Information Protection Commission due to possible infringement on privacy. Now, on this section, we can access information on project stakeholders. So who are the project stakeholders? Namely the ordering body, which in this case is Seoul, the supervisor, that is consulting engineering, as well as the prime contractor. Name of the entity companies, as well as the positions, duties, and names of responsible persons are all displayed here. Display of such information, including the list of all the managing individuals, creates incentives for the project stakeholders and responsible persons to perform their duties with a greater sense of responsibility during the course of a construction project. This section provides other relevant information on construction projects. It also provides a list of sanctions and penalties imposed. The information provided in this section covers the entire life cycle of a project, from the beginning to the completion of construction. For instance, the construction period change section provides justifying and supporting documents for those projects whose construction period has been shortened or extended compared to their initial project timeline. The design change section accounts for changes made to the construction design, whether due to budget constraints or other reasons. Seoul has decided to release this kind of information on Allimi not only because delays in the work schedule and design modifications are significantly in any construction work, but also because the work schedule is an important promise made to the citizens. Therefore, all scheduled delays are disclosed in Allimi with an attaching document explaining the reason for such a delay. Also, provided in this section are all the electronic documents created by the city officials regarding the construction projects in real time. This information is released through a linkage with the city's administration system. Allimi also provides detailed information on how contractors violated regulations, contractual obligations, or safety procedures. For instance, failure to ensure that workers wear the safety helmet at the construction site at all times. Here, the name of the responsible company is disclosed. Furthermore, citizens can find information on the consequential penalties that Seoul imposes on those companies, as well as follow-up actions undertaken in response to the penalties. Next is this very valued category by citizens, which is called Ask the Assistant Mayor. So here citizens can raise their inquiries, complaints, and suggestions concerning public construction project managed by the Seoul Metropolitan Infrastructure Headquarters. This empowers Allimi because it makes it not a one-way channel where the public simply passively receives information, but citizens who wish to file a complaint, make a suggestion, or obtain further information concerning any aspects of construction projects can post their comments here. Every morning and every day, upon logging onto their administration system, Seoul's officials automatically receive the list of questions, comments, and complaints from citizens concerning their responsible work portfolios. The responsible manager then must post their replies on the site. In addition, the replies and actions are recorded in Seoul's internal administration system for performance monitoring. Next is the site visit registration. While online information sharing is important, Seoul also recognizes that offline monitoring and discussions remain important for citizens. Upon requests made through this section of Allimi, the Seoul Infrastructure Headquarters therefore organizes visits to public construction sites for local residents once a month, regardless of the project value. This helps minimize distrust of local residents, particularly on sensitive projects. Residents interested in a site visit can make their requests and arrange the visiting schedule with the designated public inspection official of the Seoul government, either via phone call or email. Upon approval by the public inspection official in charge of the project that the citizens want to visit, then the site visit can take place. Instead of having a separate smartphone application, Allimi is currently available in a subsection of the Seoul government's main mobile application, which is called Mobile Seoul. However, since Mobile Seoul is an application for Seoul's entire public administration, the Seoul Metropolitan Infrastructure Headquarters is now considering the development of an independent smartphone application dedicated specifically for Allimi in order to provide the construction information in a faster and more efficient way. Now, I'll invite you to watch this short video which features the actual operation of Allimi. You will be able to see how users can navigate through the site step by step. Finally, you may ask how Seoul determines the extent to which it discloses its information registered in one PMIS. There are laws and regulations with respect to disclosure and protection of information in Korea. Under such a legal system, we must always be aware of the possible conflict between the concerns of information protection and the necessity of the right to access to information, and also the necessity for transparency. As a principle, Seoul seeks to share all relevant information with the system. Seoul filters, however, some information with justification. For instance, sensitive information that might undermine privacy, security, and the reputation of a company will not be shared. The guiding principle is the following. First, we must always strive to find an optimal balance between the concerns from the protection of private or sensitive information on the one hand and the respect for citizens' right to know on the other hand. Second, we must consciously choose to maximize the extent of the information we provided as much as the legal limits allow. For instance, Seoul had to discontinue the real-time web camera streaming service on June 2015 following a decision by Personal Information Protection Commission, which is affiliated to the President's office. So in this case, they decided not to continue showing this real-time webcam streaming. Nevertheless, roughly 80% of the information on one PMIS is currently shared via Allimi. So with this information, we finished this second part of the presentation series on the clean construction system of Seoul. And on the third part of the presentation that we're going to have next time, we're going to get more involved into analyzing which are the policy implications. Thank you.